Welcome to Let's Talk Money with Lerone Brown and Rita Super. Today we are launching our first episode of Real Estate Q. Real Estate Q is a series to keep you informed of current market trends, as well as a resource to answer your real estate related questions. We encourage you to post topics you would like for us to cover. And today we are so grateful to launch this series with Alexander Sims, inspirational speaker and realtor extraordinaire. Thank you, Alex, for inspiring us to launch this new series. Please take the mic and tell us about your journey in real estate.
Yes, thank you for having me. First off, this is
You're
definitely a
welcome.
pleasure and an honor to be asked to do a podcast with anybody. So definitely feel special. My name is Alexander Sims. I am in North Carolina. I'm a real estate agent here in North Carolina. I run a team called Fort Liberty Realty Group. And we service a lot of military as they come and go. Yeah, I love what I do. I love helping people. I love inspiring people, motivating people, helping people become the best version of themselves. So being able to do that through real estate has helped me achieve what I consider my life's mission, purpose, and all those great things. So it's pretty much who I am in the beginning.
Sounds good. Okay, Alex, can you just basically just give us a brief outlook of the real estate trends for 2024, especially since it's an election year?
So I hear a lot of things about real estate, and I know the news drives the market. It puts fear in some people. It gives some people courage to go out and purchase. So with it being an election year, I do feel like the news is going to play a big role on the real estate market. However, here in our market in Fayetteville, Fort Liberty, North Carolina, which is my primary focus, because when you look at national numbers, that's not each city, how they're operating. Fayetteville is actually, we have very low inventory right now. So our market is still pretty swift, very competitive. And Raleigh, which is another market that I study, they're one of the fastest growing cities in the world, like top three. So their market is at a very fast pace as well. What I am noticing, due to the interest rates being a little higher, that higher price homes may sit on the market a little longer because their buyer pool is not as large as the buyer pool for a less amount, because people can afford more, not afford more. The affordability, I guess you know how you group a class together, like you have your middle class. So if you put your middle class as the largest class of buyers, then their purchase ability is, I would say, if you get into like the 400s, 450, 500s, not a lot of buyers can purchase in that area. But if you have anything within like 180 to about 275, those houses are still flying off the market. And we still have very low inventory on those. Along with the new construction, those price, they're priced a little higher than what a lot of people can afford right now. So it's a toss up, but the inventory is still low. So we're not seeing any crashes or anything like that right now in our predictions.
Okay, so in other words, you don't see, as far as getting more inventory right now, is that what you're saying? Or it
Yeah, the
depends on what
builders can't
market you're
even build.
in?
Yeah, the builders can't even build as fast, fast enough to accommodate the demand right now. Here in Fayetteville, prior to COVID, we had on average about 45 to 5,000 houses on the market at any particular day. As of today, we're at about 1,400. So
Mm.
we're really down right now. So yeah.
And that also, to me, that also means that even though the interest rate might be higher, the buyers are still buying. It really
Yeah.
hasn't deterred the buying activity. The problem is, I guess you can say, is that we don't have a lot of sellers. Because I guess I'm just thinking that if I had to sell my house now, my biggest concern would be, well, how much am I going to have to pay to buy a new house if I have a 3.2% interest rate on my current houses? Why would I sell now to buy a house that I got to pay 7 or 8%? Am I thinking correctly?
Yeah, and that's and that's some people's thinking. And that's why I like what I do, is because I think outside of the box. And even
Mhm.
if you did lock in at that 2.25% or less than three, that's amazing. However, a lot of those people that got into that interest rate, they bought houses that they really don't love. They bought houses that they had to settle for because they
Mhm.
were in very uh, strong bidding wars, to where a lot of those people lost some of their favorite houses before they got to the house that they're settling with, because everyone has to have a place to stay. So there still are people that do have the 2.25s and things like that that are great interest rates. However, they don't love everything about the house. And at the same time, when they purchase that home, the market has continued to appreciate. So with all the appreciation, they have a lot of equity in the home. So what I like to tell people is, like, if you can make, I don't know, $80,000, $100,000 by selling your house that you purchased, 4 or 5 years ago, whatever the case may be, um, take that money, take about, what I tell them is, your mortgage at the current interest rate, maybe $300 or $400 higher. We'll just say 400. So everybody knows the interest rate can't stay here forever, so it has to come down. So I give them like a 2 year gap. I say, hey, take $400 a month times 12, to put you at $4,800 a month, a year. Times that times two, that puts you at what, 96. Out of your 80,000, let's say you make 80,000 on a house. You put this 9,600 over here to the side. That's what you're gonna pay the difference of your mortgage every month. Once the interest rates come back down, you refinance, get to the mortgage that you want to be at, which is $400 less. You now have the house that you love, and you're just happy. And it didn't really cost you that much to really be in the position you want to be in. So it's you definitely have to think differently. I kind of look at it like some people will stay where they're at because they're comfortable and never go live the life that they really want to live because of comfortability. So I changed the perspective on that, the trajectory, whatever the case may be.
Can I ask you to just explain that one more time, the $400 rule? One more time. What you do is the
Yeah. So
$400. Hold on one
so let's
second.
take it like this. So we have a house. Let's just say I have a house. Uh, I'll just say I don't love the school district. We moved here. My child is having problems, whatever the case may be. I don't love the school district. I would like to move, but I'm sitting in this 2.25 interest rate, and so I don't want to get rid of that. I like my mortgage being, let's say, $1,800. All right. So to go buy a new house, your interest rate, they're coming down a little bit, but let's just say 6.5% average.
Mhm.
So you're going up 4%. You purchase a home that you love. Um, and I'm just doing the numbers hypothetically.
Right.
4%, we're just gonna say 4% is 400 extra dollars a month.
Okay.
So you go from 1,800 to $2,200. You don't want to be at $2,200. However, you want to move and you want a new house. If you can make, I said earlier, $80,000 off the sale of your house, take 9,600 of that, put it in an account separately. That's going to be the offset of your mortgage of that $400 a month. So we're putting in that account $9,600 for 2 years, in hopes that the interest rates come back down to place you back at that $1,800 mortgage. So you put the 9,600, which is 400 times 24. You put that in that account, and you still walk away with $70,000. Put that in the bank, pay off whatever debt you need to pay off, have you a nest egg, be in the house you want to be in, have a better school district for your child if that's what your case may be. And as soon as the interest rates come down, just refinance and find yourself back into the same mortgage.
Well, that's smart. That's very smart.
Yeah,
I like that. I really do, because that's definitely, and it makes a lot of sense. I mean, you're taking it from the profit, okay? I would think that most people would think like that, but I'm sure they
and
don't because it's too simple. We make everything so complicated. But that's ingenious. I like that.
and
I had
that's
to write
and
that down myself. I like that.
yeah, and that's just a part of what I consider myself as a realtor is finding a solution for people. There's to me, I don't use the word problems. I just use the word scenarios because everything is just a scenario for me. There's no
Mhm.
such thing as a problem. Everything has a solution. So how can I better serve my clients with new ideas, new techniques, new strategies, new trajectories, new perspectives? And so that's a part of it is just getting creative to find a solution to help, you know, assist people into becoming what I consider the best version of themselves.
That's wonderful. Well, Mr. Alex, I just have one more question for you today. And this
Yes,
is the
ma'am.
question that I think that all realtors cover. And basically, what does a new home buyer need to know? How do they prepare themselves to qualify, to buy a house? What is the essentials?
New home buyers, what do they need to know?
Oh, should I
So,
say first time home buyers? I'm
first time
sorry.
home buyers.
Yes.
So, first time home buyers, number one would be credit. No late payments. Um, get your credit up at least to 650 is really good, but you can still purchase with like a 620. Um, but the higher the credit score, the better, your rates, maybe things like that. So credit is number one. Um, Knowing where you want to be and knowing what you want in a house is very important so that you have direction into where you're going. Um, Getting with a great lender and getting with a great realtor is very important. The reason that's important is because you can get with a realtor that is all about the money, that does not have your best interest at heart, and you will find yourself living anywhere. You want to have
Amen. I've experienced that already.
and
Yes.
you want and so you want to have a great lender so that you make sure they're not charging all these fees and all of these things that other lenders aren't charging. So that's another thing a lot of first time home buyers don't realize is that you can shop your lender if you need to get better rates without it hurting your credit. A lot of people think that every time they run their credit as they're shopping for a mortgage, it's going to drop them 3 points automatically. But as long as you run your credit for a mortgage within the first 30 days, then your credit is not going to take a hit only, but for the one initial one. Everything else, they know that you're shopping for a mortgage, so it's not going to take your credit further down. Um, so that's important. So lender, um, credit, uh, having an amazing realtor who has your best interest at heart, money. Save up as much money as you can. However, a lot of people think they need a whole lot of money. You only need 3.5% down on an FHA loan. If you're a first time home buyer and you're doing conventional, there are some lenders that'll do 3%. Um, if you're not a first time home buyer on a conventional loan, you're looking at 5%, still not that bad. Some people think that they have to drop like 10% or 20%. If you want to be in a rural area, you can do a USDA loan to where that's 100% financeable, similar to the VA loan. If you get a VA loan, you're prior military, retired, active duty, you get a VA loan at 100% financeable as well. With the market shifting and not being a full seller's market, it's still a seller's market. It's just not as strong. You can get closing costs. The closing cost is anywhere between maybe 5 to 7, $8,000, depending on the purchase price of the house, the taxes and insurance. Um, what was that? What did I just say? What was that one? Oh, closing costs.
Closing
So I'll
costs.
just put it like this. So a lot of VA buyers here in our area, you'd be surprised they buy homes with no money down. The only money they may have to put is due diligence. And due diligence that is a term that is kind of only used in North Carolina and South Carolina, which is an upfront fee, non-refundable, that goes directly to the seller. And that basically is liquidated damages to the seller if the buyer decides to terminate. If the buyer does not terminate and goes through with the process of the sale, then that money is applied to the sale of the house. But it's a lot of people are finicky about due diligence. However, due diligence, I like it, especially if you're a seller. You like it too because you know you have a serious and strong buyer. And also, when you're having multiple offers, you know who's the most serious by how much money they're willing to put on the line that they know they will not get back. So it is good. And even as a realtor, I like due diligence because it lets me know that I have a serious buyer as well. Because, if you don't have anything to lose, then, you may back out for any given reason. And as a realtor, you spend, I don't know, weeks, months with this client. And next thing you know, they just walk away and all they lose is like, what, $200 or something like that. So due diligence is important. So I would say for a first-time home buyer, right now in Fayetteville at $300,000 to $325,000, I could possibly get them a home with all them having, with the only thing they would have to spend is paying for their appraisal, paying for an inspection. That's probably like $875. And that's probably it. Whatever due diligence amount, maybe $1,000 to $1,500. We write the offer, it gets accepted. We ask for, let's say, $7,000 in closing costs. Their closing cost is $5,000. We mess around and get all their inspections, all that money back, and they may get a check at closing for $1,000. So, yeah, it's for a VA buyer, it's really, really easy for them to purchase a home, and it's not that expensive, to be honest with you. FHA, we could possibly still get them the closing costs. However, no way around the 3.5% down, which is still not that bad. At 300,000, you put 10,500. I think that's the down payment, and then we can get your closing costs 5 to 6,000. You buy a house for 10,500. Happy days.
That's great. And just to basically just to comment on the due diligence in the states that we are both licensed in, North Carolina and South Carolina, that if you do close, then that due diligence fee goes against will lower your closing costs. Is that correct?
Correct. So if your
Okay.
closing cost is 7,000 and you put $2,000 due diligence, then at closing you would only have to bring 5,000.
Okay. And just for clarification for our viewers or listeners, due diligence fee is not the same as earnest money deposit. Two
Correct.
different
It's not.
fees.
Yes, two different fees, two separate
Okay.
fees.
Two separate fees. That's really interesting. Well, Alex, I think that's a wrap. I mean, this is great. Seriously, you have given us information that we can chew on. I'm going to say it like that. And also, I want our viewers to know that if they have any questions regarding the information they just learned, to please post it, and we'll answer it as soon as we can. We thank you for coming on the show. And Lerone and I are looking forward to you coming back because, as I said, you are my realtor extraordinaire.
I appreciate that.
And can you please let our audience know how they can follow you?
So on Facebook, it's going to be Alexander Sims. On Instagram, it's going to be simssold, SIMSSOLD. And then TikTok is the TikTok Realtor.
Great. And we will have this posted on the pod. And with that said, I want our audience, our listeners, and you, Alex, to always remember, say you can, believe you can, and do it.
Will do. I appreciate that.
Great.